In the 19th and 20th electoral districts, the legislative election took place in perfect tranquility. In the north, the president of the Autonomous National Electoral Commission, Sakalafia, had also fulfilled his civic duty. Some personalities speak out after exercising their civic duties. Good afternoon, our dear viewers. You're welcome to the 1 p.m. news edition coming to you live and direct from Golfe TV Africa here in the city of Cotonou with Hazel OGOIGBE. Now let's get started with stories trending on the local scene. In the 19th and the 20th electoral districts, the legislative elections took place in perfect tranquility. Now the population went out to cast their vote in the choice of the next decision makers in the parliament. In Miserete or in Porto, this day was a festive day according to the images gathered, and the team of Golfe TV Africa went to Adjina, Kotungbe, Tokpota, and then also to Miserete to make the following observations. More information in the following extract.
Bon, vous savez, c'est une joie qui m'anime. Je viens effectivement.
You know, I am filled with joy for having exercised my civic duty. I have just voted. I am happy. And the crowd is around. It gives pleasure. I invite Beninese to come out in their numbers to accomplish their civic duty because this election is important for the continuation of democracy.
La survie de la démocratie. Tout se passe très bien. Les gens sont en train de sortir.
Everything is going on very well, and the people are coming out. And I am very happy to have come to accomplish my civic duty. And I take profit of your media to equally invite my fellow citizens to do the same, because it's the only way to make our choice. It's also the occasion to thank the people of Benin for their maturity. We saw the way the campaign went, and today, the election is very, very peaceful.
Aujourd'hui, l'élection se passe de façon très, très apaisée.
Effectivement, je viens de le faire comme tout bon citoyen.
Effectively, I have just done it as all good citizens. I voted. I am exalting my brothers and sisters of Benin, especially those of Port Novo, Semekoji, Ajaho, Agege, Parakou. Anywhere you are in Benin, do as I did. It's the day to talk. It's the day to exercise your civic duty. Don't hesitate to come out massively. Go and do this. Go and stamp your thumb.
N'hésitez pas, sortez massivement, allez hâter cela. Allez poser votre pouce.
Je voudrais inviter tous les citoyens en âge de voter.
I want to invite all citizens who are of voting age to come out massively to exercise their voting rights. Today is a big day for our population and our country because it's the time to choose parliamentarians who will vote useful laws to the individual and collective satisfaction of citizens and for the development of our country. Come out, leave your activities for few minutes to move forward your country.
Les activités pour quelques minutes pour faire avancer votre pays.
Still on the election, some personalities spoke out after exercising their civic duties. And now for the communal paracle, it was a day of calm and mutual respect for each other. Now it was also a day free of fight and free from all forms of violence. More information in the following extract.
In the 9th district this Sunday, The representatives of candidates and other bodies gathered to observe the counting of ballot papers. At the end, the coordinator in the 9th district has this to say.
Oui, on vient de finir avec le dépôt.
Yes, we have finished with the counting and the centralization of the results. And the members of polling stations are coming here, where the centralization and the compilation of results is taking place. Next, we will directly communicate the results to the Electoral Commission. After this, we will take the results to the Electoral Commission, and we would have finished with this election.
Poser tout ce qui est rapport et on aurait fini avec cette élection.
All eyes are now turned to the Electoral Commission, which will announce the results.
Away from that, some personalities speak out after exercising their civic duties, and for the communes in various parts of the country, it was a day of calm and mutual respect for each other. More information in the following extract.
Tant qu'il n'y a pas de violence, tant que tout ça le constate dans la fraternité, dans la sérénité, malgré donc.
Observations are good. We are at Chiro, and at this location there is no violence. There is peace and tranquility. The environment is serene despite the challenges encountered by the voters moving to their various voting centers. I observed that people still stayed calm, looking for the solution. Though the solution was not found, people still came back finally to exercise their voting franchise. We are waiting for the people to make their choice because they are the ones that will designate their future leaders. So we are waiting for the people because power lies in the hands of the people and who they will eventually vote. We noticed at the polling centers there were some challenges, and the challenges in the voting centers stopped the citizens from exercising their franchise.
Et on vient d'accomplir aussi notre devoir civique. Donc cela fait que
we have also come to accomplish our civic duty. For that reason, we have to say that it's a great day. We are thanking the Almighty God who has helped us to go about all this where we went about accomplishing our duties. I pray that everyone comes out to accomplish their civic duty and return without any provocation. And those who want to surprise or follow should do it with total responsibility. It is my hope that it continues in peace, because I went round and I noticed the discipline level of everybody. Everybody voted as they ought to and left the scene as expected of them. So, I pray that it continues like this till the end, especially at the stage of ballot paper counting, with the full responsibility and wisdom for each and every one of us within this school.
Tout d'abord, je remercie le peuple de notre.
First of all, I thank the people of Benin. I thank the people of the 8th constituency, and particularly the people of Parakou. The vote is of crucial importance to the 8th constituency. For the commune of Parakou, the truth will override lies. By the grace of God, light will shine over the darkness, because this vote is important. Either the 8th constituency advances or draws back, because the 8th constituency is enclaved, disinherited. It is the last or the second to last constituency on the national territory. I take profit of the occasion to ask of the population of Parakou, the 8th constituency, to vote in serenity, in calmness, in order, in discipline, for God to answer our prayers. Well, it is going to be David against Goliath. God who gave the victory to David against Goliath, that God exists today and forever. So once again, that this day be seen as a festive one. No fights, no violence.
Ça négresse. Pas de tapage, pas de bruit, pas la violence.
Depuis la matinée, tout se passe dans le calme.
Since morning, all surpassing calm, mutual respect. My wish is that the momentum continues until the end of the voting activities, that the best person wins. A call for calm, a call for respect for others, a call for respect for difference, and once again for the future of our country. We're a country of peace, and we're all going to do everything for the peace of Parakou to be reinforced.
Au niveau de la ville de Parakou, cette paix-là se renforce.
Still on the local scene, still in the joy of the new year, the ambience in Marché Tokpa Market, as fondly called, on Monday was characterized with joy, dancing and laughter. More information in the following report. In the Dan Tokpa Market, or simply the Tokpa Market as it is fondly called, the atmosphere on Monday the 9th of January 2023 was filled with so much joy. The market women were still in the spirit of the new year. At the beginning of the year in Tokpa Market, a pastor comes to pray with the market women. This occasion is characterized by singing and dancing to Christian songs. This was the order of the day on Monday, the 9th of January 2023. One of the exhortations given by the pastor to the market women was to greet one another in the spirit of brotherhood. Christian belief is to forgive and forget wrongs meted out by your neighbor. He also admonished them to congratulate and rejoice with one another. Generally, the beginning of the year prayer is held in Tokpa Market, and it is seen as a period to salute everyone, including those you kept a grudge with the previous year, and let bygones be bygones. Watching the women rejoice was such a beautiful sight to behold. They do not have everything they desire, but they portray the spirit of love and sisterhood. Created their happiness, and were thankful for the little they had. Danced, rejoiced, and hugged one another. The Tokpa Market is the largest open-air market in Western Africa, located in Cotonou, Benin Republic. It is one of the most important retailing areas in Benin, covering over 20 hectares of land. It is also an economic stronghold in Benin Republic, with a reported commercial turnover of over 1 billion CFA francs per day. Away from that, a digital marketing strategist speaking to Golfe TV Africa emphasized on the benefits of digital marketing for African companies. Now, Adetola Fagbemi equally threw the light on the business activities that need digital marketing strategy. More information in the following interview.
Can you indicate the benefits of digital marketing for an African company?
Well, there are many advantages, but if I would share 3 advantages. I would say that the first one is brand awareness. In order for a company to be sustainable, well, the company needs visibility to attract clients. So brand awareness is key. Also, I would say new market. In order for a business to grow, like a business needs to attract new market, not only nationally, but also internationally. So that's why it's a good opportunity for a business to conquer new markets. And the last advantage is brand image. Being visible online is a great opportunity to build a strong brand identity. And when we have a good brand image, it builds trust, and trust creates, trust creates sales, so, and attracts more clients. So I would say brand awareness, new markets, and brand image as 3 advantages for digital marketing.
Having made known to our viewers the benefits of digital marketing for an African company, which business activity must a digital marketing strategy be adopted for?
I would say, first of all, HR. If a company needs to hire qualified employees, it's good to have a very good website and being able to present the story of the company and the advantages of working for that company. So if you want to have a good qualified people in your team, it's good for PR. So that's the first activities. The second one, I would say sales, for sure. Having a good digital marketing strategy is a good way to stimulate sales. So for sales, for sure, and also for marketing, and especially when it's about gaining exposure. So marketing, sales, HR, and also customer service, because if you sell abroad and you need to be in contact with your customers, being online and giving feedbacks or responding to comments or questions is good to have it's good for customer service. So yes, I would say customer service as well.
Still speaking on the digital marketing, Adetola Fagbemi gave the reasons behind videos reaching a large audience. And of course, we had this exclusive interview for her to give you more updates. Stay tuned for the interview.
Having spoken on the appropriate platform, can you explain why some videos on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or TikTok quickly reach a large audience?
Well, first of all, there is a formula to follow, especially when you want to create viral content. So I would say being controversial, it always works. Create visually appealing content, having a very catchy title to grab the attention, tap into what's going on in the world, and also create content that triggers emotion in your audience. It's like if you integrate those elements in your content, you will create viral content for sure on any platform. So I would recommend, follow those steps, and I will assure you that you will be viral for sure.
Can a sole individual earn a living by only relying on social media?
Yes, of course. Even when you start with one single Facebook page. And as an example, I'm thinking of Maureen Aïté, who is an entrepreneur from Benin, who lives now in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. She's the woman behind the brand Nana Wax. When she started more than 10 years ago, she started with a Facebook page called Le Pain de Chez Moi, when she wanted to start business. She sells Ankara, clothing for women, and she became very, very successful because she had a very strong image. So I was telling you, that having a strong image is a good factor to success, to being successful online. So she started, with one single Facebook page, and then she built from there, and now she's a millionaire, with a company, Nana Wax. She has boutiques across West Africa, in Benin, Cotonou, in Abidjan, in Senegal. So yes, you can be successful as long as you have a good brand image, a very clear vision, and also you know how to communicate online to a specific target market.
Thank you so much, our correspondent, Asamwa. Away from that, crossing over to Ivory Coast. Now, the 47 Ivorian soldiers pardoned by Mali's leader returned home on Saturday night. Now, after their plane landed at 11:40 p.m. GMT, the uniformed soldiers disembarked one by one, each brandishing a small Ivorian flag. Now, of course, they were greeted by President Alassane Ouattara before entering the presidential pavilion at the airport, where their family members were waiting for them. More information in the following report. The 46 Ivorian soldiers pardoned by Mali's leader returned home on Saturday night. After their plane landed at 11:40 p.m. GMT, the uniformed soldiers disembarked one by one, each brandishing a small Ivorian flag. They were greeted by President Alassane Ouattara before entering the presidential pavilion at the airport, where their families were waiting for them. With the pardon and the return of the troops, tensions between the neighboring countries are calming down as President Ouattara wishes to move on from the diplomatic spat.
I would like to express on behalf of the entire group our deepest gratitude for all that has been undertaken for our return home. I am delighted to see you back on Ivorian soil today. We're happy for you, happy for us, happy for your families, and happy for our nation. Obviously, now that this crisis is behind us, we can resume normal relations with the brother country of Mali, which needs us and which we also need. The Malians are our brothers.
The soldiers had previously been detained in Mali since July 2022 and sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiracy against the government until they were pardoned. Mali had accused them of being mercenaries, while Ivory Coast and the United Nations say they were flown in to provide routine backup security for the German contingent of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali. Away from that, still on the African scene, crossing over to this African country. Now, sadly, 39 people were killed and more than 100 others were injured when two buses crashed in a head-on collision overnight on an arterial road in Senegal's central Kaffrine region. Now, the president of Senegal, President Macky Sall, told reporters on Sunday, and the images of the incident show the completely mangled front end of a white bus. More information in the following report. 39 people were killed and more than 100 others injured when two buses crashed in a head-on collision overnight on an arterial road in Senegal's central Kaffrine region. President Macky Sall told reporters this on Sunday. Images of the incident show the completely mangled front end of a white bus with blood-flecked seats, personal items, and a shoe strewn around the tree-lined crash site. Road accidents are common in Senegal largely because of driver error, poor roads, and decrepit vehicles, says experts. But the latest disaster has caused one of the heaviest losses of life from a single incident in recent years. Speaking to reporters, Sall corrected an earlier government statement that had put the death toll at 40, citing a miscount at the morgue.
He made a comment after visiting the crash site on the #1 national highway just outside of the village of Sikilo and speaking with some of the injured at the regional hospital in the nearby town of Kafrin. The government has announced 3 days of national mourning beginning on Monday with flags to be flown at half-mast throughout the country, Senegal. Kafrin Mayor Abdoulaye Seydou Sall, who is also the Minister of Urbanism, said in a statement that the accident occurred between 2 and 3 a.m. on Sunday and was caused by a burst tire. He said the Kafrin morgue was saturated and the bodies were being sent to another morgue in Kalak, a city 40 miles away. The public prosecutor Cheikh Dieng had previously said in a statement that early investigation suggested a public passenger bus suffered a burst tire and swerved off course. It then crashed head-on with another bus coming in the opposite direction, he stated. Sall said he and several other ministers had visited the injured in Kafrin and Kwalak on Sunday. The delegation included the Minister of Land Transport, Mansour Faye, the Health Minister, Maria Kemisungom, and the Minister of Territorial Equity and National Solidarity, Samba Indio Beneka. The President of the National Assembly, Amadou Mamad Diop, said in a statement that he and all the members of parliament share the grief of the entire Senegalese people and commended the rapid response of the emergency.
The difficulty to identify other bodies remains. It will be done as we go along. The state will provide all the support and solidarity to the bereaved families, but also to the injured or their families to reduce their suffering.
Opposition politician Usman Sonko announced on Twitter that he would postpone his scheduled fundraising program in light of the accident. France's Minister of Foreign Affairs on Sunday conveyed her condolences to her Senegalese counterpart, the French ministry said in a statement. In October 2020, at least 16 people were killed and 50 more injured when a bus collided with a refrigerated lorry in western Senegal. Local media said at the time that the truck was hauling fish to Dakar.
Away from that, crossing over to Mali. Now, after Mali's leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, pardoned all the 49 Ivorian soldiers on Friday, whose arrest in July triggered a bitter diplomatic row. Now, the Malian citizens praised the decision. More information in the following reports.
After Mali's leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, pardoned all 49 Ivorian soldiers last Friday, whose arrest in July triggered a bitter diplomatic row, Malian citizens praised the decision. The soldiers have returned home on Saturday night and tensions are now subsiding between the two countries, Mali and Ivory Coast. Mali's leader had decided to pardon all the 49 Ivorian soldiers on Friday in order to de-escalate current tensions between Mali and Ivory Coast. On the 30th of December, 46 soldiers were sentenced to 20 years in prison, while 3 women among the original 49, who had already been freed in early September, received death sentences in absentia. They were convicted of an attack and conspiracy against the government of Mali and of seeking to undermine state security, public prosecutor Laji Serra said in a statement at the time. The trial opened in the capital Bamako on the 29th of December and concluded the following day. The court proceedings came in the run-up to a January 1 deadline set by the leaders from the Economic Community of West African States for Mali to release the soldiers or face sanctions.
We were in a diplomatic turmoil for a long time, so if President Assimi Goïta was able to pardon these 49 soldiers, I think it is a relief for the international community, for the sub-regional community, and for all of the Malian people and the Ivorian people. Given that Mali and Côte d'Ivoire are from the same land, we have practically the same culture, but when this kind of thing happens, for me, it should be settled amicably, but not in a way that can lead to more misunderstandings between these two countries.
Mali's leaders had branded the troops who were detained after arriving at Bamako airport on the 10th of July as mercenaries. Ivory Coast and the United Nations say the soldiers were flown in to provide routine backup security for the German contingent of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali.
Still on the African scene, crossing over to the Republic of Congo, The rise in food prices in the Republic of Congo continues despite the measures taken by the government to combat the high cost of living. In October 2022, Brazzaville exempted imported products from custom duties before publishing a decree in December of the same year to freeze the prices of basic necessities. More information in the following report. The rise in food prices in the Republic of Congo continues despite the measures taken by the government to combat the high cost of living. In October 2022, Brazzaville exempted imported products from custom duties before publishing a decree in December of the same year to freeze the prices of basic necessities. These measures were welcomed by civil society, but the reality on the market is quite different. In its latest update on food inflation, the World Bank points out that more than 90% of countries experienced inflation above 5% in September, and that the increase was much higher in food. An increase of 18% for wheat between October 2021 and October 2022, an increase of 27% for maize and 10% for sunflower. Prices that will remain high until the end of 2024, stresses the Washington-based institution, which is alarmed at the catastrophic situation of poor countries, according to the French media Le Monde. Africa's 7th largest producer of black gold is unfortunately not spared. In Congo-Brazzaville, being able to make one of 2 meals a day at Saka or Mbembe ya Aduala broth has become a daily fight for most households.
When the agents from the Trade Department arrive, they give their prices, but when their backs are turned, the prices change. The traders should do a follow-up. While we were still paying customs, a bag cost 9,500 francs. Now that we have been exempted, it has risen to 14,000 francs. The Congolese state is sovereign when it comes to setting prices. People have to carry them out.
Despite its agricultural potential, the country of Congo is largely dependent on imports, which cost nearly 700 billion francs CFAs a year. To avoid bankruptcy in the face of this tariff shield, importers and wholesalers are asking for more room to maneuver. The experts of the Monetary and Financial Committee of Congo had announced in a communique published on the 13th of May 2014 that the country's inflation rate could reach 11% during 2014. Since then, the situation has not changed significantly. The International Monetary Fund's latest forecast on the global economic situation predicts a slowdown in economic growth, a rise in inflation, and an increase in debt risks. The return to positive growth in 2022 in the Republic of Congo could be marked by a surge in inflation, which is expected to rise to 2.8% during the year. According to official government data in its medium-term debt strategy, in 2023, inflation will be 3% and remain there until 2024, according to the national daily Le Dépêche de Brazzaville. Good day, dear viewers. Welcome to today's edition of the African Newspaper Review in English, coming to you live and direct from Golfe TV Africa, here in the city of Cotonou with Hazel OGOIGBE. Now, as usual, I have a plethora of journals here for you today. I have the Punch Nigeria, I have the Front Page Liberia, I have the Citizen Tanzania, I also have the Nation Malawi and the Nation Nigeria. Now, let's kickstart with the stories trending on the pages of the Punch Nigeria. Now, as you can see, I've already highlighted the stories I'm going to be reading out and giving few insights into. Now, let's start from this story that has been making the rounds in Nigeria. It reads, cash limits Customers protest as banks begin enforcement. And customers say policy will affect cash-based businesses and also fresh review. And bank ATMs are still dispensing old notes despite CBN's directive. I'll give the update later. Let's go below to the story trending here. Now, this story says how Yoruba protesters converged by 3 a.m. and members were killed. Yesterday, I talked about the fact that Omoyole Shore was reacting to the fact that Yoruba agitators were just only agitating for their nationhood, and sadly, there was a loss of life. Pardon me. Below that story, still on that, protesting students block Ibadan Road and the government intervened. Now, let's cross over to this story that has been making the rounds on social media and also in Nigeria. The story reads, gunmen demand 620 million naira ransom for abducted train passengers. And now let's talk about fuel. Fuel is a major necessity in Nigeria. It says the federal government of Nigeria orders NNPC to reduce petrol price. Now, where would I start from? Okay, let's start with the cash limit. Now, a brief background of the story is the fact that presently in Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria has brought out a new directive that there is a limit of your cash withdrawal, simply meaning you cannot withdraw a particular amount of money. And apparently, that new law brought a whole lot of, people were commenting, people were against it. But the thing about it is right now, the law has been enforced. Business people are complaining that there are businesses that need cash and they cannot do without it. And we also know that Nigeria brought out the new banknotes, the new naira, and right now ATMs are still dispensing old naira. It's such an irony. You're saying that by sometime in January there'll be old banknotes to be worthless, but yet the ATMs are still withdrawing the old banknotes, making the new banknotes really scarce. Now, below that story, let's now talk about the Yoruba nation protesters and the death of a member. Now, like every single territory, Nigeria is made up of mainly Igbos, the Yorubas, and Hausas. They are the three major ethnic groups in Nigeria. Now, the Yoruba people, or rather a part of them, are agitating that we want to be a nation state. We want to be recognized. We want to be sovereign. We want to be on our own. And they came out en masse to, exercise their human rights, their rights as Nigerians, their rights as individuals. And sadly, it led to the death of 3 Nigerians. And of course, in solidarity of that, police students also blocked Ibadan roads and they were also agitating. Now, let's now talk about the gunmen demanding 620 million naira. I think it was sometime last week. Some people were traveling, they took a train, they boarded a train, they were about to board a train from Edo State to Delta State, and they were abducted. Now, the police, everybody has been on the matter, but right now, the sad irony of the matter is the gunmen that kidnapped them are demanding for a whopping 620 million naira. And I think that's basically all the review I'm going to be giving you on the pages of the Punch Nigeria. So now let's move away from the Punch Nigeria. Let's cross over to another story trending on the African scene. Let's cross over to the front page Liberia. Let's see what the front page Liberia has in store for us today. Now, on the pages of the front page, Liberia, the top story is talking about tariff on rice has been suspended. We all know that rice is a staple food, not just in Nigeria, but in various parts of the world. And this good news is saying that the tariff of rice has been suspended on the pages of the front page Liberia. Now, let's look at the story on the front page. This story reads, 2 Bong stalwarts to break ranks with ruling coalition for democratic change. CDC defection logs on the pages of the front page. And still on the front page, this story says, prime suspect has been arrested. If you know you're curious about the prime suspect, you could check on the pages of the front page. And this last story I'll be reading on the front page says, 1 dismissed and 2 suspended at the FDA. That's all I'll be giving you on the pages of the front page Liberia. Now, away from the front page Liberia, let's go to my favorite daily. Generally, I love reading the stories on the pages of the Citizen Tanzania because it's always stories of development, stories of hope, and stories of good news. Now, on the pages of the Citizen Tanzania, this story reads, Tanzania SGR hot up race for regional trade control, and it says the Tanzanian standard gauge railway network is poised to intensify competition for trade routes in East Africa, linking landlocked countries with the Indian Ocean. And now let's now talk a bit about that. When the president of Tanzania came into power, her name is President Samia, there were a lot of development she brought. And one of the things she's really heavy on is about Eastern African countries relating together. She hyped up the bilateral relations between all of them. And now we all know that there are some countries in East Africa that are landlocked. What does a landlocked nation mean? A landlocked nation is a nation that is surrounded only by, it doesn't have water, it doesn't have seas. So when you want to import things, normally you import through the sea, you import through the air. But most countries always prefer the sea. Unfortunately, they don't have this kind of opportunity to import stuff, making it very difficult and making them landlocked. So what is she doing? She is, she's making sure that there will be a competition and there will be intergroup relations for them to be able to survive very well. And below that story, this story says, still on the pages of the Citizen Tanzania, it says, what Treasury stands to gain from DR Natu? And the last story I'll take on the pages of the Citizen Tanzania says, date set for new CNG prices on the pages of the Citizen. Now, crossing away from the Citizen, moving away from that, let's over briefly to the pages of okay, let me just clean this, make sure my screen is good to go. Cross briefly to the pages of the Guardian Post Cameroon. Now, on the pages of the Guardian Post Cameroon, this story reads, it's talking about vehicles. And the story says, vehicles grounded as commuters stranded as fuel scarcity hits major towns. Apparently talking about the fuel scarcity that is presently trending in Cameroon. And it's saying the authorities deploy anti-riot police in Yaoundé as rumors of imminent street protest spread. Now, fuel is a very important commodity, and in Nigeria, there's been fuel scarcity. When there's fuel scarcity in Nigeria, there's also fuel scarcity in Benin Republic because Benin collects fuel from Nigeria. And right now in Cameroon, there is fuel scarcity. When there's fuel scarcity, people are angry. Now, still on the pages of the Guardian Post Cameroon, this story says, Meme population hails Colonel Danzabe's stride in restoring peace and normalcy. And this story on the Daily says, Governor rejects Southwest Regional Assembly standing orders and organizational chat. On the pages of the Guardian Post, the story says, government sounds alarm over rising food insecurity. Yesterday, we talked about the Anglophone crisis, how the president of Cameroon were trying to talk about the fact that they should come together, try to resolve the conflict. Now, today, it's not the Anglophone crisis, but right now is rising food insecurity in Cameroon. And this is where I'm going to be concluding today's edition of the African Newspaper Review because my time is fast spent. Thanks for tuning in to Golfe TV Africa. I'm Hazel OGOIGBE. Stay tuned. The news is rounding off right about now. And our dear viewers, to end this news edition, here's a recap of our top stories. After Mali's leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, pardoned all 49 Ivorian soldiers on Friday, whose arrest triggered a bitter diplomatic row, Malian citizens praised the decision. On this news edition, we also saw the story talking about the fact that 39 people were killed and more than 100 others were injured when two buses crashed in a head-on collision overnight at the Artillery Road in Senegal. And of course, concluding with this, We had an interview with the digital marketer Hazel OGOIGBE that gave reasons behind videos reaching large audiences. Thanks for tuning into Golfe TV Africa. I am Hazel OGOIGBE. Enjoy the rest of your day.